Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself overwhelmed by your own thoughts, stuck in a cycle of worrying or negative thinking that feels impossible to break? Maybe you've convinced yourself that people don't like you or that things will never get better. Sound familiar? We've all been there. But here's the thing. What if I told you that there's a way to challenge those thoughts? A way to actually put your beliefs to the test and see if they're as true as you think? That's where cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, comes in. It's all about using real-life experiments to see whether those worst-case scenarios you imagine are likely to happen or not. Today, we're diving deep into how you can use something called behavioral experiments to shake up your thinking. We'll cover how these experiments work and how people just like you have used them to tackle their fears, whether it's social anxiety, depression, or fear of rejection. And don't worry, we'll keep it light and relatable with some real-life examples to show you how it all works. So, if you're ready to take control of your mind and stop letting negative thoughts hold you back, let's get started. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, may sound technical, but at its core, it's about using simple, common sense tools to change the way you think and feel. One of the most powerful techniques in CBT is the behavioral experiment. It's a way of testing out your beliefs by putting them to the test in real-life situations. The goal is to see if your predictions about how bad things will turn out are actually true. Let's break it down. First, you start by identifying a problem. For example, maybe you believe that if you share your opinion with others, they'll like you less. Then, you make a prediction. How likely is it that this will actually happen? Next, you come up with a way to test this prediction in the real world. Afterward, you reflect on the results. Did your worst fears come true, or was the outcome different from what you expected? This approach helps people realize that many of their negative beliefs don't hold up under scrutiny. Instead of getting stuck in a loop of worry or self-doubt, you learn to challenge those thoughts and develop healthier ways of thinking. And the best part? Even if the outcome isn't perfect, you can always try again and adjust your approach until you find what works for you. Nadine had always been afraid of rejection. She thought that if she expressed her true opinions, her friends would like her less. Every time she was in a social situation, she found herself holding back, only saying what she thought people wanted to hear. But deep down, this made her feel frustrated and disconnected from others. One day, Nadine decided to try a behavioral experiment. She predicted that if she spoke up and shared her real opinions, her friends would like her 90% less. With some encouragement, she attended 6 different social gatherings, each time trying to express her true thoughts and opinions. The results? To her surprise, her friends actually responded positively. Some even said they liked hearing more about her thoughts. By the end of her experiment, Nadine realized that her prediction wasn't true at all. Her friends didn't like her less. In fact, they appreciated her more. This helped her gain confidence in speaking up and being herself in social situations, ultimately lowering her fear of rejection. Nigel struggled with depression. He found himself withdrawing from social activities, convinced that even if he went out, he wouldn't enjoy himself. Nigel's prediction was that spending time with friends or doing activities like biking wouldn't lift his spirits. It would just make him feel worse. But Nigel decided to challenge this belief. He planned an experiment where he scheduled 2 outings with friends and a couple of bike rides over the week. He rated his mood before and after each activity to track his emotional response. Although the first few activities weren't mind-blowing, Nigel noticed that he did feel a little better after spending time with friends. Biking didn't bring him the same joy it once did, but it gave him a sense of accomplishment. Over time, Nigel realized that engaging in activities, even if they weren't perfect, still made him feel better than doing nothing at all. His experiment helped him see that he didn't have to feel 100% happy for an activity to be worthwhile. It was a step toward overcoming his depression. Alex was haunted by panic attacks. His heart would race, and he'd feel dizzy, convinced he was on the verge of a heart attack. Every time these symptoms kicked in, Alex would sit down, fearing the worst, and avoid situations where his panic attacks might strike. Tired of living in constant fear, Alex decided to conduct a behavioral experiment. He had two competing theories. Either his fast heartbeat meant he was having a heart attack, or it was just a byproduct of anxiety. To test this, Alex deliberately put himself in situations that made his heart race, but didn't sit down or leave until his anxiety passed. The outcome? His heart rate eventually slowed and nothing catastrophic happened. Alex discovered that his symptoms were tied to anxiety, not an impending heart attack. This gave him a new sense of control over his panic attacks. He realized he didn't need to avoid situations or use safety behaviors. He could manage his anxiety and move through it. Okay, so how can you make this fun and engaging? Imagine these experiments like little adventures. Instead of dreading what might go wrong, approach it with curiosity. What will happen if you speak up at a party? What if you try doing something new even when you don't feel like it? Think of it like being a scientist with your own life, gathering evidence, trying out new things, and learning along the way. You don't need to be perfect or get it right the first time. The key is to keep experimenting, adjusting, and growing. And remember, even if things don't go as planned, you're still learning valuable lessons about yourself and your beliefs. It's not about proving you're right or wrong. It's about getting to know yourself better and finding what works for you. The next time you catch yourself thinking negatively, ask yourself, what if this isn't true? Then try out a behavioral experiment to see what really happens. Who knows? You might be pleasantly surprised by the results. All right, everyone, we've covered a lot today. We've explored how you can take control of your thoughts by running simple behavioral experiments. Remember, it's all about testing those beliefs that hold you back. Whether you're dealing with social anxiety, depression, or panic attacks, you now have a tool to challenge those fears and see what's really true. So, here's your challenge. Start small. Pick one belief, make a prediction, and test it out this week. You might be surprised by the results. And don't worry if things don't go perfectly. It's all part of the learning process. The goal is progress, not perfection. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe for more tips on mental health and self-improvement. And hey, drop a comment below about which belief you're going to test first. I'd love to hear how it goes. Let's keep supporting each other on this journey to better mental health. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay strong, stay curious, and keep experimenting with your mind.